Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I want you to please think about this. We are allowing evil to take over our American society. All of us need to stand together and say, enough. Get tough. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on this first day of July, with the 4th of July coming up. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a very safe, clean environment, and, of course, the best in tires. And our big thanks also to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Let's go to the phone line right now and have our pledger. Good morning, you're on the air.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, my friend. Well done. Right now, let's head for the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Easy to find right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, with the best of rental of tools and equipment that you need to finish any kind of a job, construction project, whatever. They've got all your garden and lawn equipment, your rototillers to rip things up, and they've got all the water lines. They've got everything over there at K&R Rental with Roger and the crew. And the number to call, 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Finally, some sunshine in the forecast. Here's a look at your weather for today. We are expecting sunny skies. A little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, about 8 miles an hour, turning to the northwest by the afternoon. Gusts could get as high as 22 miles an hour, and we are expecting a high of 74. Tonight, mostly clear skies. That breeze is going to continue. We are expecting a low of 45 for Thursday. Sunny and 80 for Friday, sunny and 87. Then for Independence Day Saturday, sunny skies and 87. That's your weather for Zeb.
Woo, that sounds good. That sounds good. Good morning. Weather brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental. You know, it's so easy. They've got the rental of equipment for both long and short term. And if you're not sure what you need, all you got to do is jump on the phone and give them a call and say, hey, I got this project. What do I do? What do I need? And they can help you at 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Wow, we have got a lot of things cooking today, and today, I might say, the implementation and going into effect, all the new laws that were voted in by the legislative session. So remember the cell phone law, and I'm very, very glad to hear, and I'll fight this with anybody, I'm so glad to hear that the transgender law is going into effect, that's going to protect our girls. Going to protect our girls as it should be. The other side, the evil side, can yell, stomp, and holler all they want, but it is not right, never will be, for transgender males to be competing against girls. And I'm glad that law was signed into effect by Governor Brad Little. Want to also have a good word for the Silver State Stampede. Sean, if you would, please.
Nevada's oldest rodeo, the Silver State Stampede, roars into the Elko County Fairgrounds July 10, 11, and 12. This PRCA-sanctioned rodeo brings you the thrill of pro riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Friday evening with a delicious tri-tip dinner for just $10. Old West bronc riding, mutton busting, PRCA rodeo action, and the always popular Ring of Fear. Dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. And on Saturday, show your support with Tough Enough to Wear Pink. Round out the weekend with Family Day Sunday evening. The best family entertainment this side of the Rio Grande. The Silver State Stampede, July 10, 11, and 12 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. The Silver State Stampede will be following all of the Nevada governor's directives, Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery Plan, as well as the CDC guidelines. The safety of everyone is our top priority.
You know, just before my show started this morning, prior to the news, hold on, caller, please have a little patience with me, I hope. Steve played as his last song, God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood. And that song, and I'm not ashamed to admit this at all. You want to make fun of me? Go ahead. Every time I hear it, it brings tears to my eyes because it brings back so many memories of thousands of performances of rodeos across the United States that I had done over the long career I had in the PRCA. And God Bless the USA was one of the feature songs for a lot of our grand entries. And now with this 4th of July Independence Day weekend coming up, it just brought back some fond memories and a lot of patriotism, so I enjoyed that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm really at the end of the road. I don't know what to do. Our contingency that we've sent to Washington, D.C. won't communicate with us. They won't tell us what we're doing and everything. And now our U.S. senators are going on vacation for, well, till the 19th, I think it is.
Yeah.
What in the world are we don't even have anybody waiting in the wings to take their place.
Let me just say this.
How are we going to operate?
Let me just say this, and I'm going to be in total agreement with your opening kind of statement, if you will. I find it very offensive that the media, in this case, has to keep chasing after Crapo and chasing after Risch, and boy, really chasing after Simpson and Fulcher to try to get on the program and explain what's going on, what is not being done, and why not. And I've made a concentrated effort over the years to try to get them on my program. And then about 6 months ago, I said to myself, why? Why should I be the dog chasing the parked car? They should take it upon themselves to let their constituents know what they are doing or not doing, or what's being accomplished or not being done. And especially in Simpson's case, he carries a torch against me because we had a little verbiage about the Muslim Brotherhood that he didn't agree with. And say that he's going to kind of disdain his constituents and not call in or try to be a part of the program is absolutely juvenile.
I think you're exactly right. And I can just see a picture of him hiding under his desk, all hunched up, like a baby just being born. You know, he just completely disregards us.
Well, I don't look at him that way at all. Keith, I don't look at the picture. Keith, I don't look at the picture of Simpson like that at all. I look at a guy that he got caught on verbiage, and I'll be glad to discuss it with him again on the radio. I said the Muslim Brotherhood is a group and an organization that we need to be very wary of and fend off as far as having in the cabinet of the United States, and that offended him for some reason, and basically he told me what he thought, and that was the end of our relationship of having him on the program. But he works for us. I don't work for him. And in that regard, he should be picking up the phone and or having one of his people that works for him pick up the phone and saying, do you have any time where Congressman Mike Simpson could come on your program and discuss what's going on? I haven't heard anything but crickets from his office for at least 3 years.
That's right. And I don't know. I've met with Crapo myself. He is helpful to me getting my veterans benefits, and I'm I thank him for that, but I'd like to hear from him.
Yeah, I would. They should be making a point of having their people call and saying, well, now, we could do this on Tuesday or we could do this on Thursday. They have an opening. And I would be bending over backwards to try to make my schedule amenable to theirs. But it's like I said a moment ago, Keith, and I'm not trying to say that I'm holier than thou. I'm not going to chase their car. They absolutely owe it to their constituency and to me to call me and let me know what times are available.
Yeah, we got people like Adam Schiff that just dominate the airways, just dominates it, and the media just loves him and everything like that. What can the people believe?
Well, okay, but
anybody else speaking now?
Yeah, but your point is so well taken, and it goes a lot bigger and a lot further than what you're projecting. The Republican Party, on the whole, right now, nationwide, is not doing anything. They're not being vocal. They're not speaking out. They're not being leaders. They're not showing the public they're fighting for us, the people. Nothing but doggone crickets. And I am pointing my finger at the Republican Party. I am in condemnation of them, and I'm going to continue to be that way. They are not standing up for us and being vocal about all the mess that's going on in society today. They should be absolutely yelling and screaming about the discontinuance and the curtailing of free speech and a lot of other issues, and you're not hearing it, and I dare you to tell me you are.
You're absolutely right, and the Democratic Party is non-existent. It's Black Lives Matter.
Well, we've discussed that, and
Taking over.
yeah, you're not going to get an argument from me. Keith, now that you've got my blood pressure up, way up, you can go sit down and talk to Nancy, the sugar cookie queen of Magic Valley. Thank you.
Yeah. My job is complete.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Almost 7 decades of serving you. And serving is the key word. With excellent people, excellent knowledge, and all that you need for your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. They've got it all. Absolutely easy to get a hold of these folks. They're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Work with the best, and that's the truth. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Also, some other good folks that I want to mention real quick, and then take some more of your calls, and that's Dino's Septic Service. Hello, Dino's. I'll tell you what, if you've got a problem with your septic system and you're putting it off saying, well, I'll pump it out tomorrow. No. Remember, we've got the 4th of July Independence Day weekend coming up. Well, give them a call. They're there. They're there to serve you. They've expanded their business, enlarged their business to serve more people. I'm telling you, they're good. Fast, fair, friendly service. Number to call, Dino Septic Service, 436-6526 or 678-1638. Excuse me, with that big truck that pulls in the yard that says, smells cargo on the way. The best serving you. Dino's Septic Service. Get a hold of them today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. And, well, by the way, Donna Mass, if you're listening, happy birthday to you. It's Donna Mass's birthday today, dear friend of ours. And I think her and George went camping, I'm not sure, but we tried to call and wish her a happy birthday, and no answer, just goes to voicemail. And so if she is tuned in on the radio, happy birthday. Nice lady. Well, let's see. Did you watch and listen to Joe Biden and his so-called news conference yesterday? I sat there and watched the whole thing live. I did. It was painful, to say the least. I thought of at least 30,000 other things I could be doing, including rearranging a sock drawer, which would have been more interesting. But with a hand-picked five reporters in a gymnasium, empty except for sound people and his handlers, and these 5 reporters, Joe Biden was given questions that basically could have been answered by a 6-year-old child. He is, and I'll stand behind this, a shell of a man. I said a shell of a man. And off script is lost in a mindless state. He proved that again yesterday. Basically, Joe Biden is a puppet with frayed strings. Now, my criticism of Joe Biden is not meant to damage or hurt or denigrate. My criticism is the truth, because he is not and will not and can't be capable of doing the job as President of the United States of America. That is, it's fairly obvious. Now, what happens behind the scenes with the selection of a vice president choice to Biden, and or what's going to happen with the Democratic Party as they get closer and closer to the end of summer and closer to November's vote, I, along with many of the guests that I've had on this program, like Dr. Gerard Lamero and others, really feel that somehow the door is going to be opened and it's going to say exit on the top of the door, and Joe Biden is going to have to walk through. Meaning that there will be another person waiting on the other side of the stage to walk in and wave and say, "Hi, I am the new possible president." I honestly think this is going to happen. Now, who do I think it's going to be? I really don't want to go there. Some of the people that I've talked to back in D.C. and New York, especially people that are involved in everyday politics, working as students of the game, if you will, writing for newspapers, writing for TV news. It shocked me when they said this, but they honestly believe that Michelle Obama is going to walk through the other door that says entrance. And with the possible selection of Kamala Harris, 2 black women on the stage representing the Democratic Party. That is many, I think of all the 15 or 16 people I've called in the last couple of days that are involved in news stories and kind of detective work as to what's going on behind the scenes. That's what they said. And with all the turmoil and tumultuous activities going on in the country today, with the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, etc., it kind of makes you go, wow. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. And I mean that. What a great place to go eat. And I know Thomas really, really well. And he is always bent on the best of service for you and your family and friends to go in and enjoy a great meal. Delicious food. And he really cares. Along with his staff, like Michelle and the rest of them, they really are good people that are going to make your experience there at Denny's one that is absolutely 110% positive. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Yep, it's true. I mean, breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts. It's great food at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Want to also tell you, boy, they are in the middle of everything going on. I just heard, caller, I'll be right there. Old Sean was telling me before the program this morning that the fireworks display over in Rupert was absolutely great last night. So kudos to Independence Day, 4th of July celebration in Rupert with the theme rocking in the USA. Absolutely. What have they got cooking today? Well, at 6 p.m. tonight, they've got a patriotic program at the City Square, and then the featured performer at 7:30, the Eclectics. Tomorrow at 6 p.m., Sounds of Freedom in the City Park. Then, look out at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. It's going to be the 3rd annual Mutton Bust. And Friday, of course, the Firecracker 500 lawnmower race. And Saturday, one of the world's best 4th of July parades at 11 o'clock. All of this at Independence Day Extraordinaire, Rupert's 4th of July celebration. Don't miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Deb. I really don't know for sure who they would have replace Biden, but I have a pretty good idea that they don't want him to be president anyway. Last time he ran against, or last time when Hillary Clinton ran, didn't he run against her, as along with Bernie Sanders? He didn't make it then. How many times has he ran for president in the past? I tend to agree with your thoughts on that. I think there's someone else out there. However, I don't think it would be Michelle Obama.
Well, please keep in mind, Riley, I didn't say that it would be or could be. This is some of the gist of what I'm getting from news staffs across the East Coast in D.C. and New York. That's what they're telling me. It's not my opinion. It's just what I've been told.
Well, that's what I was meaning. I didn't mean to offend you or anything, but yeah, I really don't think it would be Michelle Obama. I think it'd be someone more like, I don't even know if Hillary Clinton would even have a chance again.
No.
But I think it'd be someone a lot more left of Michelle Obama. And who that is, I wouldn't know at this point.
But Riley, wait a minute. You're a sharp young guy. Look at it this way, Riley. Everybody loved, and I can't understand why, Barack Obama. They thought he could walk on water, but the day before they showed him where the rocks were. And if you take Michelle Obama and you take Kamala Harris, and you've got one that really bends to the left in extreme fashion, then that's Harris. And then you take Michelle Obama that just kind of has the big toothy smile and stands there and everything with the implementation or the re-implementation of her husband's policies. This, I think, could be a very big swing for the left. The Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all the offshoot insidious groups, I think, would lend their support. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, putting it that way, yeah, I didn't think of it quite like that. But yeah, putting that aspect into it, yeah, it's probably a pretty good idea. Lord help us, because she really does not like the United States of America. How come she's here? I do not know.
Yeah.
However, she has said multiple times herself how she despises it, how it's never been great up until her husband started to destroy things. But anyway, I'll let you go.
All right, Riley. Hey, God bless you, man. Good to hear from you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hey, don't forget Sophie's Cookies every Monday. We give away at 8:30. I try to be right on time if I can. A dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, right on the square. With a great restaurant and a fantastic bakery. Oh, my. Everything they make is delicious at Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Don't forget that's Monday at 8:30. I give away the cookies. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to be very blunt about these things from now on. I am not going to hedge on who they are and what they are. Another black woman prosecuting attorney in St. Louis. I'm going to start it off that way. She is absolutely deplorable at her job. She is and has considered to be by many a racist and a dangerous woman in that office. She is going after the two homeowners in St. Louis that were fearing for their lives and their property last Sunday afternoon, when a mob of over 100 of Black Lives Matter tore down and destroyed a steel entrance gate to their private property and came onto their property, and they were honestly, I think you would be too, think about it, afraid for their welfare, their property, and yes, even their lives. And the husband went in the house, got a rifle, and stood guard on the front porch with his wife and told these creeps to get off of his property. Oh, but it was a peaceful protest, a peaceful march, according to this ditzy, absolutely stupid prosecuting attorney. She said, why, that homeowner had no right to threaten those people in a peaceful march with a weapon. I'm going to go after him. Have we reached the point in this country, evidently we have, to where you can't fear for your life or your family or your property and protect it with vermin that are coming through a locked steel gate? They tore it to pieces and came onto their property and started yelling and screaming and saying, "We're going to shoot your dog and then we're going to kill you." How would you react? Open your door and find that group of sleaze standing in your yard. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Well, the story behind that, of course, is they called the police and nobody showed up.
Bingo.
So, and that main function of government is, Zeb, is protection of life and property. That's why we pay taxes to support our sheriff. And like I say, the sheriff is the most important elected official we have. If he capitulates to the federal government, we've lost our freedom. But these people, they had no choice. But when he came out with, looked like an AK-47 and she had a pistol, they did fear for their lives.
That's right.
Nobody showed up and nobody's going to defend them. They had broke down the gate, and of course, the way it was reported that, they just happened to pass by and drop in there.
Oh, come on.
I mean, the national news media, Zeb, is just pitiful.
This husband and wife, wait a minute, Adrian. This husband and wife, and you know the story very well. I don't have to teach you on this at all. But this husband and wife were enjoying a lunch together on their patio when all hell broke loose with these Black Lives Matter creeps. And they broke the gate down and came onto the property, were yelling and screaming obscenities and threatening to kill the dog and then kill them and hurt the property, damage the property. Adrian, turn the whole thing around, and I know what you're going to say, but I'm asking other people to think too. What would you have done in that circumstance?
I would have done exactly the same thing if I'd already called the cops, and even if they were delayed getting there for some other reason. I mean, you've got to defend your property one way or another. And, they did fear for their lives. You could see it. And, of course, we only heard part of the story from the national news media. But this is really serious. This despicable judge, we have a two-tiered justice system, and the criminals can go out and loot and burn and do all of that. And nobody even spends hardly a night in jail, let alone any prosecution. And here these people are defending their property, and they're going to be prosecuted.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Let me jump in here. If, Adrian, and think about this from the other side for a moment, think about it if the prosecuting attorney gets her wishes and ways and goes ahead with a prosecution of these two people on their property, think about the devastating effect that's going to have and take up all across the country for all of us trying to protect our property and our lives.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, they need to get hold of good constitutional attorney, if there is such a thing anymore, and defend, the fact that they were standing up for their Second Amendment rights, their First Amendment rights, actually, the total Bill of Rights. But the fact that the cops didn't show up, this is going to be more of a scenario. And like I say, the bottom line is they want a national police force. That's where we're going. They're going to defund the cops and the sheriffs, the local police, and then when there's an insurrection, they bring in the federal troops that won't have any allegiance to your local community.
Yep.
And more sinister than that, they could bring in troops from the United Nations, and our area has been designated to bring in troops from Red China.
Yeah, when you see the blue helmets coming, it's too late to think about what you should have done. Adrian, I got to run, but I thank you so much for your call. God bless you. And by the way, if I don't talk to you tomorrow, have a very great Independence Day weekend.
Well, you too, and I've got family coming into town, and it's just so sad that we have forgotten our heritage. And you read the paper today.
Yeah.
Some people don't have any comprehension of what the sacrifices took place that we might be able to fly that flag, let alone they just say, well, it's freedom of speech to dishonor the flag.
Well, it's also, wait a minute, it's also my freedom of speech to condemn them and go after them the same way they're going after us. I got to run, Adrian. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Deb.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye now.
I read that letter, and you talk about a letter. I'm trying to find it here on my list of things that I'm going to be throwing away as soon as I read it again because it was worthless. I'm trying to find it here. I will. I promise I'll find it during the news break if I can. And it was a letter that it was interesting. The letter writer attacked Adrian Arp for his patriotism. But in most letters in the Times News, they always say the name of the person and the town they're from. But in this case, they didn't mention the town. It's almost like they were trying to shield and protect this person. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location for all you need. The Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes, all the trenchers, scissor lifts to get you way up there. And, of course, don't forget the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. Oh, they've got phenomenal financing programs and lease rates. You better check it out. For all the lifting, digging, pushing, and carrying, yep, they've got the equipment at Barry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Zeb, I know you're a lover of Westerns just like I am. But remember the many, many times where they had somebody in jail and they were innocent and the sheriff knew that. And out front is this mob that's going to lynch him. And all he has to do is to fire a shot in the air, and all of a sudden these people are paying attention. You know, we've got to single out who the leader of each group is.
I agree with that.
Fight the whole group.
I agree with that, Keith, but my opening statement this morning, and I'm going to stand behind this. 3 words. 3 words. Think about this. Enough. Get tough. Think about those words. Enough of all this garbage, all this absolute garbage that's being heaped upon America by liberal sleaze kooks, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, etc. It's time to get tough and put this down. This insurrection, this hate of America, this destroying of private property, public property, the burning, the looting, the beatings, it's all got to stop. It's time to say enough and get tough.
Well, I admire this one civil rights attorney that comes on. He's a black guy. His name is Leo. I can't think of his last name.
Yeah.
But he has just turned his back on the Democratic Party completely because he knows what they're doing is wrong, wrong, wrong.
Wait till you hear this morning at 10:06 on my program. He's been on once before. He is excellent. Vince Everett Ellison. And this man is going to tell everybody exactly where the chickens laid the eggs. Let me tell you. He's not going to pull any punches, so listen in. I got another call. Keith, God bless you. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, sir. Calls welcome, 436-2244. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Back in the 60s, wasn't there, when desegregation was going on, there was some riots going on at some colleges or something. This is before my time, and I don't quite remember my history as well as I ought to. I apologize. But they had people show up with hoses and water hoses, and they got tough. First, if I remember right, they weren't kind of tough. They were kind of, okay, we'll listen to you, protest. And then as the protesters started to escalate and started to get more violent and what have you, the people on the other side started to escalate their opposition as well, such as water cannons and blowing them back. And that stopped things for a while. I think you are absolutely 100% right, and I agree with you 100% right. I don't like to see people get hurt, but enough's enough.
Yeah.
You got to put your foot down. You're going to have to water cannons or whatever it's going to take. Some people are going to get hurt. That's very unfortunate. But then again, there's the adage: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, because obviously you don't think things through.
Well, what's going on?
That's sad to say for those people.
Absolutely, Riley. You are spot on. Thank you for calling back, because you led me right into the next part of what I was going to talk about. Thank you, my friend. God bless you, and have a great Independence Day weekend. Thank you. What Riley's talking about is absolutely what's going on now of cities in chaos, with cutbacks on police and this yelling and screaming about defunding the police or get rid of them altogether. One person that absolutely has a mouthpiece as a national congresswoman, and she is disgusting, detestable, and I would love to see her beaten, but she just won her next primary again because her district thinks she can walk on water, and that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in New York. And she's one of the main instigators of not defunding or lessening the money of the police. She wants them all just totally gone. And we saw what happens in New York last night with that kind of an attitude. Chaos and anarchy hit the streets. Vandalism hit the streets last night. And we're going to see that all across the country, and we are in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, and other places. Other places. Are you willing to sacrifice everything that you're hoping for your children and grandchildren in this greatest country of all, America, to the sleaze that's trying to take it over? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
My answer is no. Absolutely not. That's not why I called, though. You'd spoken earlier about Joe Biden, who could possibly replace him. I'm not sure who that will be, but I think, in my opinion, the Democrats want to do everything they possibly can to get rid of President Trump.
Yep.
And the strategy I think they may end up taking is this one. They want to make their support as large as possible. And one of the things they could do is not pick two blacks to run as vice president and president, but to pick a Hispanic and a black, so they can garner as many of those people's votes as they possibly can.
All right. Well, now that you're shooting from the hip, I like the way you've laid this out. Now, give me a name.
Well, that's tough. You just mentioned Ocasio-Cortez. There's Beto O'Rourke. I'm sure there's a lot of lesser people, too, out there that we don't know as well that could possibly run. It almost doesn't matter if it's male or female.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. Ocasio-Cortez isn't old enough. She can't. And can in the future, and probably will if her idiocy allows her to stay in office. She's roughly, I think she's going to be turning 31 in 3 months, I believe.
Yeah, she's not quite there yet. But, again, it's not so much the person's name, it's the strategy behind it.
Yep.
They want to make that their support base as large as possible, because there are people who will vote for the ticket simply because you have a Hispanic on there.
You know, wait a minute. You're making such a...
What are the two largest minorities in the United States right now?
Yeah. You're making such a great point. Hold on, caller. I want to ask you a question, because you're making such a great point about a Hispanic and a black. And I think that's worthy of doing some checking to see who's standing out in the wings of perhaps Hispanic heritage that would have the wherewithal and the votes. They had a couple that were running in the primaries, and they fell through the cracks. But your point is very well taken with me, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
God bless you, and have a great day, and I mean that.
You too.
That man brought up an excellent point here this morning, and one to be feared, I think. Caller, quickly, I'll do the weather after I take your call.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, enough is enough. We've got a lot of people getting hurt, a lot of property damage. It's time we put a stop to it. We don't need to wait a day. We don't need to wait on anything. We just need to get the job done. It's time that we just went out and did it. And if the government isn't going to do it, it's time the people stood up and said enough is enough. you come into our area and you try this, we're going to stop you. And we aren't going to be nice about it in any way. We're going to stop you. We're going to be just as mean, just as rotten, just as disgusting as you are.
Absolutely. Jerry, let me just, and I haven't got a lot of time, Jerry, because I've got to get a weather forecast on here, but I want you to answer this. We are looking at the greatest weekend for our country this weekend, Independence Day celebration of our birthday for the United States of America on the 4th of July. I fear for this country this coming Saturday. I fear for the safety of people. I fear for communities, and I could not agree with you more that we the people have got to get tough. There may be some bloody noses, but that has to happen if we're going to take back sensibility.
Well, I absolutely agree with everything you said there, Zeb, so I don't know what I can add to it.
All right, my dear friend. And to you and your lovely wife and family, God bless you. Thank you so much.
And may the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
All right, sir. Thank you. I got to get a weather forecast on here quickly, and the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And where are they located? I had somebody call the other day and say, where are they? Well, they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Easy to find. And all you have to do is call the number and make an appointment for your hearing health. They are so good. Yes, you can trust your hearing to Mount Harrison Audiology. Number to call, 312-0957. I'll repeat it, 312-0957. Your hearing health and Mount Harrison Audiology. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Finally, some sunshine in the forecast. Here's a look at your weather for today. We are expecting sunny skies. A little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, about 8 miles an hour, turning to the northwest by the afternoon. Gusts could get as high as 22 miles an hour, and we are expecting a high of 74. Tonight, mostly clear skies. That breeze is going to continue. We are expecting a low of 45 for Thursday. Sunny and 80 for Friday, sunny and 87. Then for Independence Day Saturday, sunny skies and 87. That's what's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And again, the number to call, 312-0957. You call them today. You know, it was about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to some folks, and they said that they were going to take their kids on a swing through the eastern states for the summer vacation. And they named some of the places they were going to go, some of the Civil War battlefields, and they were going to go to New York, and they were going to see this, that, and the other. I'm tempted right now to call them and say, don't go to New York. Don't go to the eastern seaboard. Don't go. I think that tourism is going to absolutely come to a minimum in New York City especially. I think we're going to be seeing tourists say, whoa, without any police and without any real responding to 911. And with the cutbacks of personnel, and the police, and you can't blame them at all, are leaving every day, taking quick dismissal from their jobs before they're actually due for retirement. They're getting out of there, and I do not blame them. The police in this country are now so disrespected. I don't blame them at all. They've had it. And in New York City, to take $1 billion with a B, $1 billion out of their budget, and then you have this snotty little Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that has the combined IQ of a box of rocks, saying, well, gee, that's not enough. We should have defunded the whole thing. Tell all the cops to leave. Would you want to be a tourist going down by the Empire State Building? Or down to Madison Square Garden, or anywhere in the city where crime is rampant, and absolute being mugged and shot and beaten for whatever goods and valuables you have on you, knowing that there's not a snowball's chance in the oven that if you dial 911, anybody is going to respond. Think about it. Lawlessness, chaos, anarchy. And then this idiot that calls herself a prosecuting attorney in St. Louis is going to prosecute a man and wife for standing there and protecting themselves and their property? That shows you how damn dumb the left and the Democrats are. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, that makes me wonder. All these people who voted for these, for their Congressman Cortez and all these other extreme left liberals, the people who voted them in these big cities, they were being hurt. And they're being hurt bad, like you said, with the looting, the rioting, the destruction of their neighborhoods, the thefts, the you name it. I wonder if they've put two and two together yet and figured out it's because the way they voted, it's what they're got. That makes me think a lot.
Yeah, I can't speculate on the stupidity of a vote for anybody on the left. All I'm saying is that enough is enough, and enough is getting tough. We have to stop this. With the mess and see...
It'd be common sense. You think about, I voted for this person, and they promised all this stuff, and I keep voting them in, and, well, we never get it. But, even the lowest IQ person in the world would have to think, 1 + 1 is 2, and I keep voting for them, and bad things keep happening.
Well, you know as well as I do that the actual vote, quote unquote, especially back in the different districts or whatever in New York for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, please don't think for a minute there wasn't some arm twisting and some under-the-table movements.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
All right, Riley. God bless you, man. Thanks. Thank you. Cities in chaos. Seattle. What's going on in Seattle? The police chief is a black woman, and she stood up in front of the cameras the other night, and honestly, look at her eyes. Look into her eyes if they show that video clip again. You can see the tears welling up in her eyes because she and her police force are absolutely hamstrung by a stupid left-wing mayor that honestly doesn't know Khmer from Sikkim. And you can see the tears in her eyes. And these people that are in CHOP or Chaz or whatever you want to call it in Seattle that have hurt the residents, they have stopped their business, they have stopped their way of life of going out, maybe walking the dog, walking to the park, going downtown, walking here. They've stopped all of that with this idiocy of just coming in and taking over. And now people have died. Yes, they have. People have been shot. Yes, they have. And this thing should have been absolutely taken down. They should have brought in the great big dozers, the water cannons, and the dogs and said, sick 'em. And it wouldn't have bothered me at all to see a whole bunch of splashing going on out in Puget Sound or along the seaboard, whatever, of all these liberal loons treading water because they lost their little home that they took over in Seattle. I want to remind you about our dear friends and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, are you getting all set to leave on a road trip? Are you getting all set to go on a little vacation? Are you getting all set to get out of Dodge City and just take the kids and go someplace? Well, I don't blame you. But make sure that you've got the best of tires for safe driving. Well, there you go. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, they've got a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires for whatever vehicle you have. Car, pickup, SUV, boat trailer, horse trailer, whatever. I know a lot of the folks here are getting ready to go back to the National High School Finals, etc. I just urge you to stop in and work with the best that really know tires, and they'll absolutely steer the key word, the best tires for your driving needs. Stop in and see James in Buell, Dan on Poline in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, really nice folks. Trent, good old friend of ours on Overland and Burley. The 7 locations for your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Okay, well, we're going to take a little break and let the big boys from CBS come in and mess everything up, and we're going to come back with Dave Bego in about 7 minutes, and then at 9:30, Alex McFarland. God bless. Have a good day. Leave the dial here. I'll be right back. Oh, thank you, and here we go, hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. You're probably wanting to get out of town for this weekend. Well, you better stop in and have the tires checked at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Oh, my goodness, I tell you what, if you're having some kind of a gathering this summer and you're going to have it at a park or you're going to have it maybe out in a great big parking lot, field, whatever, don't forget you got all the silverware, you got all the plates, you got all the cups, you got all the drinks, you got, oh, wait a minute, you forgot to order the porta potties. Oh, my goodness. You better call Western Waste Services right now. They've got all the porta potties for all occasions. 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Absolutely. By the way, Sean, could we please have a good word for the Silver State Stampede?
The thunder of hooves, the thrill of the crowd, family entertainment at its best when the Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 10, 11, and 12 at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Bring the family and enjoy 3 big days of PRCA rodeo action, along with the Old West bronc riding, mini bull riding, the Copper Riders, mutton busting, the world-famous Ring of Fear, and dance the night away to the music of the Moonshine Outlaws. Get your advance tickets today at J.M. Capriola Company, IFA, the Boot Barn, Roy's, and the Elko Chamber of Commerce. The best in the West is waiting for you at the 2020 Silver State Stampede, July 10, 11, and 12. Don't miss it. For more information, visit us at silverstatestampede.com. Silver State Stampede will be following all of the Nevada Governor's directives, Nevada United Roadmap to Recovery Plan, as well as the CDC guidelines. The safety of everyone is our top priority.
Thank you very much, and don't forget, too, our dear friend Joel Heward. And I can imagine that his family and staff are just heavily involved with all the Independence Day activities going on at Rupert's 4th of July celebration. Well, keep in mind, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street is there to serve you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one. And they always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And remember this, upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember the number 436-5636. Again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wednesdays, and that means I get a chance to visit with a friend, a dear friend. And I have to keep saying dear friend all the time because I'm up to my neck in alligators owing him about a great big winery in Italy someplace. Good morning, Dave Bego. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Up to your neck in alligators.
Listen, my good friend, I want to become very, very serious this morning and ask you a lot of questions about what's going on in our great United States of America. Dave, I have never in all my 72 years been more concerned that we are at a tipping point that says if we don't say enough and get tough, we're going to lose this country for future generations forever. What are your thoughts?
Well, Zeb, it's true, and we have a lot of companies across the country that are backing down to this as, they're being attacked or threatened by, Antifa and Black Lives Matters and other places, and, and they won't sell certain things in their store that, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the left are after them about, and tell them they better do this and do that, and and even in our sports, Zeb, I mean, it's sad. I don't know if you saw an article came out yesterday, but Black Lives Matter is to be painted on all NBA courts when the league resumes next month.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that. You've jumped ahead, but let's talk about this. Do they not understand, Dave? You live in a city that has a major pro basketball team, the Indiana Pacers. What is the matter with these people not knowing that this group, Black Lives Matter, is an evil, sinister, Marxist, communist group that's hell-bent on the destruction of our Constitution and our country? What in the heck is the matter with these people?
Well, Zeb, the problem is they don't have the backbone to stand up. And, this is the biggest problem we have in this country, is that we got to get people to stand up and not allow these people to intimidate them and stop them from doing the right things for America. And but they behind the scenes, it's the NBA and the NFL, the unions behind the scenes are who basically put together Black Lives Matter. They're pushing these people to do the things that Black Lives Matter and Antifa wants them to do, and if not, they're going to do things that they think are going to destroy their football and basketball teams and the NFL and the NBA and all that. That's what this is all about. But what you have to do is, and they have to understand, because I've been through this, is you have to stand up to these people and tell them, no, we're not going to do that. And you expose them for what their lies and everything else is. And what happens then is they start backing down. And this is what, Walmart and the NBA and the NFL and other companies across the country need to do now.
Yeah, but Dave, wait a minute. I'm not criticizing what you said because I agree with it entirely. But it's almost like now the horse is hitched to the wagon and it's too late.
No, it's never too late, Zeb. We're not that far along with it, really. And, they wanted to use this 2%, and that's basically what this is of the population, to try and bring this country down. And it's time to stand up. And but the other thing is, and I don't know if you saw this on Fox News last night, and they talked about it, that the left is saying that Trump is going to drop out of the race, and that he isn't going to stay in it and all that. And the reason they're saying all that is because all this is going on is one of the things they're trying to do is to get him to drop out.
Yeah.
And they're basically telling him right now on TV, you better do it. But they're saying it in a way is that they think he'll drop out. And I saw a couple people on there that say no, he won't either. He's got the backbone to stand up, and I believe he does too, and I hope he will. But the rest of the business people around this country need to do the same thing, and the conservatives around this country.
But what do we do? Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to you. Okay, you are a major businessman and employ a lot of people. Are you going to get on the telephone today and call the Pacers office and say that you will not support their putting a logo of Black Lives Matter on the court?
Well, I'm going to, it's hard to get a hold of certain people right now, and we have season tickets to the Pacers, and we have season tickets to the Colts, but we've expressed how we feel about this. But getting a hold of people at the higher level is a tough thing, and I'm trying to do everything I can to get these people to understand what this is all about, because all this is just intimidation tactics and agenda out there to get them to bow down and not have their backbone. And the truth is they need to expose these people for what they're really saying.
I know that, Dave, but you could carry a lot of weight by writing letters to the editor, calling a television station or a radio station, and saying, look, I want to talk about this Black Lives Matter logo on the NBA floor at the Indiana Pacers. I'm against it. I'm a businessman. I don't want to see this. There's a lot of things you could do to make ripples in the water, and including contact your Senator Mike Braun and tell him what a mindless twit he is for supporting this garbage.
I've already done that with Mike Braun, and we'll see how that plays out. And, I'm trying to do it in some other areas, too, so we'll see if I can have an influence on these people.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't.
But Zeb, I don't know if you've read my book or not. But
absolutely.
My second book, The Devil at Our Doorstep, but in there I talk about the gentleman that owned a business in Fort Wayne, Indiana, that read my first book and came down to Indianapolis and had breakfast with me. He says, Dave, I read your first book, and I salute you for everything you've done and how you stood up to these people and that. He said, but I got to be honest with you, Dave. Psychologically, I couldn't put up with that and stand up to it like you did, and financially, I wouldn't want to spend the money to do it. I don't have the backbone, and he said, Dave, I'm going to be honest with you. Unfortunately, he says, I'll bet 97% of the business people across this country don't have the backbone.
I can't argue that, Dave, but if this is what we've come to in this country, to where we are going to be accepting, there's the key word right there, accepting chaos, lawlessness, burning, looting, or if they don't get their way, they'll do more and hurt more people. We're done. We're toast.
Well, I think, Zeb, we're going to have enough people stand up, and we are see some politicians that are starting to, in some states that are doing that, and I think as this goes along, they will continue to see people starting to stand up. But we need, as you said, and I agree, we need to talk to them, and we need to tell them how to do this and the way to go.
When I look at the situation in St. Louis, and I'm going to go there now, and I know you've seen this story about a husband and wife sitting in their backyard enjoying a Sunday afternoon lunch on their patio in a private gated community, when all of a sudden over 100 BLM, Black Lives Matter, thugs and punks tear down the steel gate, come onto the man's property, threaten to kill him and his wife and kill the dog. The man goes and gets a rifle and holds them at bay until they left. And now, the black prosecuting attorney in St. Louis, a woman that has been known to be very racist against whites, said she's going to try to prosecute this man for inciting violence with his gun. Dave, this is absolutely mindless.
It is, but let me back up again. The majority of this stuff is happening in democratic cities, and St. Louis is a democratic city, just like Chicago and Los Angeles and Seattle and Portland and New York and Chicago and that, and that's where you're seeing the majority of this. And the union I fought, the SAIU, is big in all these cities. They're very big in St. Louis, and they're one of the major groups behind the Black Lives Matter, and they're trying to do these things. And I support this guy and his wife for standing up, but I don't know if you saw behind the scenes that this guy and his wife also support Black Lives Matter.
Well, wait a minute. He's done a lot of work. I'm not going to say that he supports Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to go that far, because he's done a lot of work. Well, wait a minute. That article might be a little jaded, because he's done a lot of work for the impoverished and has done a lot of work for the black community. I saw the article you're talking about, and I think that a lot of it was a press mistake or on purpose to get everybody to think that he supports Black Lives Matter, and I'm not sure that's the truth.
Well, I'm hoping it's not, but, they need, and they're both attorneys, him and his wife, and they both need to stand up even stronger and make sure that they stop this stuff and they get these people in St. Louis to back down.
But, Dave, when you hear Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez A 31-year-old absolutely off-the-rails misfit that has no business being in politics, let alone helping set public policy, denounced the $1 billion cutback from the NYPD, saying it's not enough and they shouldn't have sent any money to the police, and she wants to see all the police defunded entirely. And last night, after that announcement came out, there was total chaos in the streets of New York. This is insane.
It is. But again, she's far left radical, and she's been brainwashed coming up in education, and this is what's happened over the last 30 years or so, because the unions and the left have controlled our education system across the country, and they brainwashed these people into doing this stuff.
Let me ask you, I watched and Sean, we've got just a touch of feedback coming down through my headsets on the feed line, please. Dave, I watched the other night your senator from Indiana, Mike Braun, and I do not know your affiliation with him or whether or not you have respect for his positions or not, but I'm going to tell you right up front, no respect from me whatsoever. I looked at him as a wuss, a coward, and a person that will bend where the wind blows. What are my thoughts? Am I wrong?
Well, Zeb, I met him, and I supported him when he ran for the Senate, and because he had a lot of good things, and he is a businessman in that. But for some reason, he has switched gears, and like I said, I've communicated with him, and I've talked to him some on the phone. He wants to talk and meet again, and I'm hoping I can get him straightened out.
Oh, I hope you can. God bless you if you can. This weekend, the 4th of July, and the celebration of our Independence Day. Dave, I have talked to people the last week in Washington, D.C., New York. I've talked to people in Wisconsin. I've talked to people in Arizona. I've talked to people all over the United States, and they are all very worried about a concentrated effort by the left, BLM, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, etc., in more destruction of our country on America's birthday party. What are your thoughts quickly, and then we'll take a call?
Well, I'm sure that they'll be out, doing their thing. But the rest of America needs to stand up and salute our country and recognize that, and really show that they are behind our country and they will stand behind it and make sure that it stays this way. Yeah, I think that'll help a lot if they do that.
I agree. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air. Quickly.
Well, you say, Braun, you supported him, and then you wonder what happened to him. Well, Crapo and Risch, senators from Idaho, Mike Simpson, representative from Idaho, not a one of them ever say a damn thing, ever. And you wonder if they're somehow compromised. I mean, is the entire Washington, D.C. electorate, people that have been elected, are they all, does people have the goods on them? Is there anybody back there with any ethics? Any morals, or they have all been caught doing something they shouldn't have been doing, including Chief Justice John Roberts. I mean, is there anybody that cares about America and the people? I'll hang up.
You cannot blame that question and that person at all for asking the question, because, I've reached the point where I'm wondering what in the world is going on with ethics and values anymore. Dave, respond to that.
Zeb, and I've talked about this many times. The problem with it, when people get elected into office into Washington, they're making good money and they got good benefits in that, and most of them, all they want to do is continue on that road, and they don't want to get back into the free market society and find a job and stuff like that, because they just want to relax and get the money and the benefits and stay that way forever. And this is why I've said many times over and over and over again, we need tournaments, because we need people to go to Washington and do the right things for this country and serve a couple terms and then get back and into the free market and work. And I can tell you, and I won't bring up this politician's name. He was from Indiana. But I sat down and brought up term limits with him and everything. And he says, Dave, I don't want to do that. He says, I want to stay in Washington. He says, and do this. And I said, you've got a background as an attorney. And you could get back into the free market and work again and be an attorney and do well. He says, yeah, but I don't want to do that. And this is the problem we have in this country, Zeb, is that even though we got people that are qualified to get back to work in the free market and be successful, they don't want to work that hard. They just want to sit in Washington and collect money and benefits.
I'd be willing to bet you a steak dinner I could name the name of the politician that you're talking about, but maybe out of respect to you, I won't. But I bet you any money I could pick his name out of a hat.
Well, let's not do that, Seb.
Okay, Mr. Beagle. Listen, I want to extend to you and your family a very safe, sane Independence Day, and I hope all goes well. And when you're either sitting at the golf course or perhaps sitting out on the back patio, sipping perhaps a little seed of the grape, let me know your thoughts and always stay in touch. Appreciate it.
I will do, and you have a spectacular 4th of July.
We will, my friend. Thanks, Dave. Dave Beagle, author and great businessman, and I always appreciate his input on Wednesdays on Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you very much. Okay, now, time to tell you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Yes, they can help you if you're hurting. That's it. Okay, ad's over. No, I'm kidding. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, if you're recuperating from a surgery or an accident, and holy smokes, it's really tough being you, get a hold of them. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call for an appointment so you can have these great physical therapists working to help you, 678-1191. 678-1191. Headed up by our dear friend Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists with all the exercises, the great hydrotherapy pool, everything there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Call them today, 678-1191. Boy, for some great eating. Oh, my goodness sakes. You know what? That's what you ought to do. Is head to Denny's and just enjoy a great meal and then partake of all the great Independence Day, 4th of July activities. Holy moly! They are there to serve you in Burley at 611 North Overland, Denny's Restaurant. And, of course, they've got another location in Twin Falls at 291 Pole Line Road. I urge you to stop in and take a look at the menu and look at all the breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, everything. Delicious, delicious. And above all, they've got great people serving you. Very polite, very nice, very courteous, absolutely. The home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch is at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and you know this is true. They are America's Diner. Absolutely. By the way, a lot of things going on, and we are going to be sure and tell you right now, I'm stalling for time. I dropped all my little cards of addresses and phone numbers of my sponsors and advertisers. I'm ready. Here we go. Let's ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Yes, sirree, Bobby. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays, 9 to 2. I don't know if they're going to be open on Saturday or not, the 4th of July. Deanne, if you can find out for me, let me know. And I urge you to remember this is where the fun is sold. They've got all the side-by-sides. They've got all the four-wheelers. Oh, I mean all. They've got a showroom just chock full of fun. And they literally have all the accessories that you could need and a great service department to keep you running. All of this at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Over in that same area, as I'm giving you a little geographical survey of all the great businesses in the same area, we're talking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, right there on the curve going into the town, and you can't miss them. They've got the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. Great service, dedication, and they just want to help you. Absolutely. Number to call? Make an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, it's been over a month ago, and I had this next gentleman on my program. And once he was here the first time, I vowed that if his time was accessible to being back on
his phone.
Well, that was a voice from God. He's not answering his phone. Okay, well, hopefully he will answer his phone. And keep trying if you would, Sean, and I'll have Deanne keep trying on this end. Thank you very much. So I was going to get ready to tell you Alex McFarland would be coming on the program. And I'm hoping, Deanne, if you can come in and check on that too, I'm hoping we can get him lined out. Until we do, how about giving me a call and we'll talk about what plans you've got for Independence Day, etc. Here, Deanne, there you go. Thank you for your help. And what's your family going to do? Are you going to have a picnic? Are you going to get together and make homemade ice cream? If you are, you got to invite Deanne and I. We love homemade ice cream. And go to the parades, and what other activities are you going to be a part of? I remember growing up back in Wisconsin, and every year we, as a great big saddle club we had back there, were part of a huge parade. And summers in Wisconsin, especially on the 4th of July, can be extremely uncomfortable unless you're laying in a lake bed in water and drinking an adult beverage, if you're old enough. And I hated getting ready to be in a parade on the 4th of July. I'm not trying to denigrate any parades. I'm just saying, boy, oh boy, back there in that heat and humidity and everything, it was rough and tough, let me tell you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a call and let us know what you're doing for this weekend. And I'd like to hear from you. While I am waiting and patiently trying to get a hold of Alex McFarland, I don't know what happened, but normally he's pretty doggone reliable. I want to talk to you a little bit about Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. Now, they've got everything of your electronics needs. I mean, whether it's the power cords or the cables or the surveillance cameras or the home theater systems. Oh, my. All the complete sound systems, your televisions with Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. What a selection. Great big selection. And they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, closed on Sundays, of course. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Really, really nice people serving you. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. Love to hear from you. And here's another thing to put on your list of, another swine flu strain in China is being reported. And many of the experts, scientists say that it could become, I hate to even say this, another pandemic. Why is this happening? What is going over in the country of China? Why is there so much being released from that country and hurting with devastation the rest of the world? Now, let me tell you a little news story here, folks, in case you're wondering about Barack Obama. I really don't lose too much sleep over him because he's a has-been and a memory, and I hope he stays that way. Former President Barack Obama reportedly accused President Donald Trump of spreading anti-Asian sentiment with his comments about the coronavirus. Now, what Trump had said is not anything different than any and all of us have said. Obama decided that he would rip his successor for using the terms China virus, which it is, and I will continue to say it on this program, or even the Kung flu to describe the coronavirus. And I want to read directly. There's a couple of words in here I don't like to use on the radio, but I feel that it's necessary in this regard to let you know the low class of Barack Obama. He said, quote, "I don't want a country in which the President of the United States is actively trying to promote anti-Asian sentiment and think it's funny. I don't want that. That still shocks and pisses me off," said Obama. You know, the thing is, it's a virus that came from China. It is the coronavirus from China, or a Chinese virus, and I'm sick and tired of pussyfooting around the situation and trying to be politically correct. And Barack Obama has no business, I think, criticizing anybody or anything because of his 8 years of lackadaisical administration. Now, like I said, I hated to give you that comment because of certain things that were in there, but the fact is, I don't care if it's called the China virus, which it is, or Kung flu, which it could be, or whatever. It is a virus that was somehow escaped from China and now has hurt the entirety of the world. And to think that maybe we're going to have another circumstance with the Chinese swine flu becoming as dangerous, it ought to scare all of us. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The reason we're kind of hesitating here, and I'd love to have you give me a call, is because our guest, for some reason, did not respond to the call this morning, and it's unfortunate. I was looking forward to a good conversation with him. Don't forget, some of the merchants over in Rupert that are hopefully inviting you over to all the festivities for Independence Day on the Rupert 4th of July celebration. Haskin Insurance Services at 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Yep, telephone number to call, 436-4141. And they are your partner in insurance protection, and they say, come on in, give us a call. We want to thank all our customers for the business over the last 20 years. Haskin Insurance Service. Then, of course, Dixon Oil at 602 South 2nd in Rupert. These folks are always there to help support community events, and they've been in business at Dixon Oil since 1950. Let me tell you, it's a great service station. All the gas and the oil, the propane, everything. Daryl and the crew wish you a very happy Independence Day, 4th of July. And, of course, don't forget Haruza Insurance at 723 South 3rd in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4420. And they protect what matters most to you. Be sure and get a great competitive rate and coverage and personal service at Haruza Insurance in Rupert. Last but not least, Snyder's Surplus. Holy cow, where do they get all this stuff? I'm telling you, they've got a wide variety of products to offer you almost anything you could possibly be looking for. Firearms, ammunition, camping equipment, backpacks, you name it, it's all there. Every day is a treasure hunt at Snyder's Surplus, 116 South, 200 West of Rupert. All of them wishing you and yours a very happy Independence Day, 4th of July. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
You know, I'll tell you what, across this world, there's elite forces that absolutely have to get rid of Donald Trump. And, you know, whether or not the swine flu is, you know, they're just prepping us for the release of the swine flu. This COVID has worked so well to destroy the world economy and destroy people's hopes that they can't afford to not do it some more. They finally figured out something that we pay attention to, even though we don't want to. the governors have forced us to. You know, you wonder how deep the conspiracy grows and how wide it is. And you know, I guess you're either for Trump here in America, the good, patriotic, God-fearing people, or you're against him, but the elites are always against him.
Well, let me ask you a question, Randy, and I'm going to give you a little roadmap I want you to refer to. And you're very sharp and you're a news junkie like I am, so you'll follow this. Before Trump was elected, it was all the Russian collusion. We got to get him, and after he was elected, then, of course, we got to nail him to the cross. We got to go after him, and then that didn't work after all the investigations. Then, of course, we had impeachment with the call to the Ukraine. I'm going fast through all of this. That didn't work for impeachment. And then all of a sudden, bim, bam, boom, then we came across the coronavirus escaping from China and enveloping the entire world. And now with the coronavirus, the threat that now there was a bounty on some of our soldiers. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on leading up to the election. And people with any kind of grain matter between their ears ought to stop and think, holy smokes, a lot of this sounds like it's a well-coordinated attack on Trump.
Oh, yeah. Let's just put it this way, because we've talked about it till we're blue in the face, but you can't imagine that the Trump voter that voted for Trump, and that, you know as well as I do, there's more and more people that have become Trump fans, that they are not just boiling, furious, depressed, whatever. But one thing they are going to do is show up to vote. And, of course, if the Democrats can figure out a way to, steal the election through voter fraud from mail-in ballots, oh, my word.
I don't want to see ever. I don't want to see ever again, Randy. Randy, I want to get your attitude on this. I don't want to ever see again, and I mean this, and I might step on some toes locally with some of our politicians, etc., but I mean this. I don't want to see another mail-in election. You know why? I think it takes the personality and the well-being out of an election. I think it takes a lot of the security out of the election. I think it turns us into a country that I don't want to be a part of. I want to see people go to the polls. I want to see people show their IDs. I don't want to see another mail-in election. Maybe you don't agree.
Oh, no. It's not. Mail-in elections, is just another plan to get rid of Trump and voter fraud. And, yeah, the potential for vote. Hell, in some election, because of mail-in ballots just recently, like last week, some primary or something, a judge threw out the results because of voter fraud, because of mail-in ballots.
That's right.
I know I heard it. I just don't remember where it was.
Yeah. I am so afraid, and a lot of these ballots, I heard Mike Huckabee talking about this, and then I also heard underlings of William Barr's office talking about it on certain interviews about votes and ballots that could be printed up in foreign countries and brought here to the States, mailed in. I mean, there's so many chances for illegalities. I don't want to see it.
Well, some of those Democratic operatives are just the useful idiots, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're just useful idiots. And they're going in through people's mailboxes, filling out the applications, and forging the signatures. I mean, and you say, well, you can't fool with the federal mail. That's a federal offense. Well, right now, the courts are so backed up, they can't even do the right thing. They can't even. I don't know if they'll ever. I wonder.
Real quick.
They're ever going to get caught up, squared away, back to normal.
Real quick, I want you to comment quickly, because a lot of people are naive and think that situation, and when I say that situation, I'm referring to what happened in St. Louis last Sunday. They think it can't happen here. And I'm talking about the couple that lived on private property in a gated community, and the gate was broken down by Black Lives Matter, and they marched in 100 strong, and with threats and epitaphs against the couple, and the man had to get the gun. Randy, why is the conservative family and America that believes in values, why are we so naive thinking that this can't happen anywhere and everywhere?
I don't know. It's just like when I talk to, across this valley, I talk to tons of business people, farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and I ask them, do you listen to the radio? No, I can't stand talk radio. It depresses me. He says, I can't take it. I have to shut it off and just go back to work.
That's a wussy attitude. That's a wussy attitude because, but here's what I'm saying, and I've got another call waiting.
For the people won't work.
Randy, here's what I want to say about that. People that say, well, I don't want to hear it, are the same people that are like ostriches and they want to bury their head in the sand and not find out what's really going on. And then those are the same people probably in large numbers that won't even take the time to go vote.
Like I say, I pray for my president every day. And I pray that the good people of this country who care, that they will go out and be proactive. And because this election,
it's important. The most important. I got to run. I got another call.
No way, though. It's going to be a constant battle.
I agree. Randy, I got another call in the weather, and I got to get those in. My friend, thank you. Thank you, and I mean that. And have a great Independence Day weekend. Thank you much. Caller, I am going to take your call first before I go to the weather, so go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Just a really quick thought. 30 days ago, they had the riots, and everybody was messing around, and who knows where they came from to go to Minneapolis or New York or whatever. Okay, now all of a sudden, then those people go back home. 10 days incubation. They get around the friends and family. Now we're having a surge in Florida and Texas and whatnot. But are we reporting the other states where we're having surges? Because now we've got 10 days incubation.
Absolutely. We've got a bad line here. I think you're on a cell phone, and we're getting a lot of feedback. I apologize, ma'am. I totally agree with your concept of what's happening with the coronavirus. Yes, we're going to see spikes. Yes, the virus is going to stay with us for a long time. But no, I will not advocate or support any more of a shutdown in this country. Appreciate your call. I've got to run and do a weather forecast. Thank you very, very much. Call back on another line if you would. I'd love to talk to you. I want to remind you our weather forecast being brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they are called The Professionals, with the best of accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area, as they have given it to you and provided it to you for over 50 years. Yes, serving you, your family, and your business with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, the list goes on. And 2 offices to serve you. Burley and Rupert, The Professionals. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Finally, some sunshine in the forecast. Here's a look at your weather for today. We are expecting sunny skies. A little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, about 8 miles an hour, turning to the northwest by the afternoon. Gusts could get as high as 22 miles an hour, and we are expecting a high of 74. Tonight, mostly clear skies. That breeze is going to continue. We are expecting a low of 45 for Thursday. Sunny and 80 for Friday, sunny and 87. Then for Independence Day Saturday, sunny skies and 87. That's your weather for Zed at the Range.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. And brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Nobody does it better. They are always there with the best of accounting services to help you, your family, and your business at offices locations of 1710 Overland and Burley, and, of course, 625th Street in Rupert. The Professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, you are on the air. Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, Zeb. This 4th of July, there's going to be a lot of celebrating in Rupert. And what has the local police or mayor or whatever, has he put any restrictions on distancing or masks or anything else, has he?
Well, there again, I'm not going to be the catch-all or the do-all or the be-all for answering all questions. I think you would be better suited to call the Rupert City Hall and find out yourself rather than put the onus or the monkey on my back to have all that information.
Well, I've been pretty good at it for all these years, Zeb.
Well, I know that, Keith, but, it's easy to say, well, Zeb didn't know or Zeb doesn't know, but I can't possibly be aware of everything that's going on.
I'm more or less saying I don't think anything is going to be done. I could call and ask, but it's not going to change anything.
Well, then, fine. I can't change it either. And I respect your call and your inquisitiveness on this issue, but ask me when it's out of my hands and literally up to the city fathers and or whoever the powers that be over in Rupert. That's not a decision or a comment that I should make.
Well, as for myself,
okay.
If I decide to go to that celebration, I'm just going to be myself.
That a boy.
I'm not going to worry about all these other things. If I'm scared, I can always wear a mask.
There you go. Excellent. Keith?
Everybody do what is right, and I think it'll come out well.
I do, too. Thank you for your call. I do always appreciate them. Thank you very, very much. Moving along, I've got another call. Go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Yeah, I'm not really into these conspiracy theories too much, and but I think that our government and our politicians are crooked on both sides of the aisle. I think there's more morals and stuff on the conservative side. I'm definitely a conservative, but I agree with one of your callers that this flu and this COVID and all this stuff, it is the perfect weapon against Trump. They've tried everything they can do against him. Trump's a kook. Everybody knows he's a kook, but he's a good kook because he gets stuff done, and he does care about the country. So I'd like to see people be held accountable for the things they're doing against someone like that. How come everybody gets put on the block if they're conservative, and then you get the other people that do all these crimes and they're just because they're Democrats?
Yep.
And I've got another news for everybody. I dare those people 100 strong to come through my gate at my house, because you're going to really see the news headlines then.
I really appreciate your straightforward attitude this morning, and I absolutely stand with you, my friend. And to you and your family, I extend the very safe, sane Independence Day, 4th of July weekend. God bless you, and thank you for your call. I appreciate that.
And God bless America.
Thank you. Appreciate that, too. He's right spot on. By the way, Deanne, in her always hard-charging attitude to find out the information that we need, she found out from Let's Ride. I mentioned this a little bit ago. They are going to be closed on Friday and Saturday in celebration of the Independence Day weekend. So that's Let's Ride closed, she said, on Friday and Saturday. I asked about that earlier, and she came right out with the information. I appreciate it. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Jeff. I've just been listening to the chatter that you've been doing, and it means so much to me. What holiday of the year would be the best day to march into the United States and put us down? Either Christmas or Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because America is so in love with those two parts of our celebrations. We are kind of vulnerable.
Chris, I said 2 weeks ago on this program, I said that I'm very concerned as to the security and the safety of different events all around the United States that are having celebrations for, of course, the Independence Day, 4th of July weekend. And when I started hearing stories about Mount Rushmore having to beef up their security and other events, even rodeos on the 4th of July, being worried about a lack of security, it leads me to think that, yes, I totally agree with you that we can't be naive. We must be on the watch. We must be very observant, and we, the people, had better be ready to take care of these situations.
Well, and Americans, as a rule, are very open for people from outside.
Yep.
And we welcome them, and we take them in, and we assume that they come to the United States because they long for what we have. But on the other side of that, maybe they don't fit in, and it doesn't turn out right. Well, then it's all our fault.
Absolutely.
So I think that we are very vulnerable, and on these precious holidays that we have in our country, we probably need to be on guard more than ever.
Chris, God bless you and your family. You are such a nice lady to talk to. Thank you. I've got to run. I got to do a commercial, but thank you so much.
Well, get to it.
All right. Thank you very much. Don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. My, what a great place to go in prior to this weekend and just say you want to buy some more comfort. Yeah, you want to buy some more comfort. You might need another recliner, or maybe you're looking for a better mattress. They've got all the Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses. What a great selection. Or maybe you want to upgrade your furniture in your living room with the sofas and the love seats and everything, or maybe a new living room set. Oh, my goodness. They've got it all, including all the flooring and the best of carpet, everything for the beautification and comfortization of your home. Stop in and see them today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Located at 459 Overland in Burley. Nice people that really know their business and can help you with what you're looking for at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Gonna run to the news. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Here we go. Hour number 3 on a beautiful day outside. Man, I haven't had a chance to say that for a long time. It's been chilly and cold and rainy and windy. My goodness sakes. Welcome back to our program, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. You stop in and see them today. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And let's not forget our dear friends over at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. Absolutely. This is a beautiful, beautiful 12-bedroom home, a family unit. And let me tell you something, seniors, it's easy to get to, and it's right there in the heart of things on 21st Street, just a mile east of Walmart. Don't forget that. And they provide 3 meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, and local transportation, all included in the rent. And it's just really a neat place to spend the days with your friends. Absolutely. Call Matt and Kelly Wiggins and find out more, a lot more. See the place. Absolutely. Make an appointment, 650-4979. And that's, of course, Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Really, really good folks. Before we go to our guest, I also want to remind you about 7K Metals. You know, all of us need a little extra saving and adding to our financial security. Well, 7K Metals can help that with silver purchases that are sent right to you at your home. This is a great saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. How do you find out more? Thought you'd never ask. All you have to do is get a hold of Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon at 430-3259 and find out more about investing in financial security and wealth protection for you. Mention my name. Really good, folks. And they'll serve you. At 7K Metals, you get a hold of them today. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we've had this gentleman on the program before, and I got to tell you that the title of his book is a lengthy title, but it absolutely envelops exactly where we are today. The title of the book is called The Iron Triangle, Inside the Liberal Democratic Plan to Use Race to Divide Christians and America in Their Quest for Power, and how we can defeat them. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Everett Ellison. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Happy to be with you again.
Well, no, sir. It's my pleasure, and may I extend to you and yours a very happy and safe Independence Day weekend.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And, you know, I'm here like you, looking at the absurdity of people who want to end racism but want to support a group that calls itself Black Lives Matter, who want to tear down statues of white Jesus, and still how crazy and insane the whole concept is. It's absurd.
Vince, I'm going to shoot from the hip here a little bit, and I'm going to ask you questions, and we'll kind of shotgun this interview a little bit. And I want to start with something that was mentioned on my program about an hour ago by another guest back in Indiana. And we were talking about the NBA helping and promoting Black Lives Matter by putting logos on the courts this year in the NBA. I find this absurd and disgusting. What are your thoughts?
Oh, my goodness. That is horrendous. Man, I hadn't heard that. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard about. How you going to end racism talking about Black Lives Matter and taking black people and selling them aside from the rest of America? That is racism. And I just saw a Pew Research poll released, and people can check it if they like, that said about 83% of the people marching in these Black Lives Matter protests are non-black. About 60% are white. See, this is white, liberal, this is black people's pain for white liberal gain. That's all it is. And they are making fools out of black Democrats again the way they did in the 60s. And they're using black people to push their agenda forward. And a lot of these owners of these basketball teams in the NBA are big-time liberals. And they have to control black people politically to keep their political power. So the NBA is just a plantation system, and the black community is another plantation system, and that's all they use them for. And they can, and I hope everybody heard me say it. You can loop it and play it over and over and over and over and over again. Most of these guys are young. They are illiterate. They don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand history. And these people are using them like they've always used black athletes for their own gain. Whether it was Muhammad Ali, whether it was Kaepernick, whether it was Michael Samms, whether it's Bubba Wallace, if you are going to protest for their side of the political spectrum, they will make an icon out of you. But if you try to protest for something that's conservative, they will try to destroy you and tear you down.
Let me ask you, Vince.
So again, the Iron Triangle, the black preacher, the black politician, and the black civic organizer are the arm of the Democratic Party and these liberals, and they use these people to keep the black community under control, so we vote 90% for the Democratic Party.
That's right.
That's all there is to it in my book. And you can go on IronTriangleBook.com, tells you all about it, and they got to keep Christian whites and Christian blacks separated so they can do this.
Absolutely. Vince, what does it tell you about the status of America today when we're seeing major corporations, Procter & Gamble, Walmart, many, many more, contributing millions upon millions of dollars to Black Lives Matter? Didn't anybody do the homework and find out that Black Lives Matter is a very insidious and evil left-wing Marxist group that was started for the defacing and destruction of our Constitution, but yet they're contributing millions of dollars to them?
Of course they did. They know exactly who Black Lives Matter is, but they have a social agenda. And this social agenda is the eradication of Christianity in America. When they eradicate Christianity, they eradicate the foundation of this nation because our rights come from our Christian concepts. Let me explain. John Locke wrote a book called the Second Treatise of Government. And in this book, John Locke talks about unalienable rights for the first time. And he says these unalienable rights came about because the king could not justify his kingship all the way back to the lineage of Christ and Adam. He said since he couldn't justify it, we are just as free as he is. And therefore he had no right to keep us under subjugation. Thomas Jefferson used that logic to justify the Declaration of Independence and our breakaway from the King of England. Locke said that we have rights that are unalienable. What are these rights? Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And we institute government to secure these rights to us. And when governments no longer do that, we are supposed to replace that government with one that will. Now, since our rights come from God, our freedom, our life, our liberty, our right to self-defense, if you take away God, then who do these rights come from? They come from government. That means that man can control these rights, and that's when you have statism. That's when you have totalitarianism. That's when you have China, communist Russia, Venezuela, and Cuba, and that's what they want. They want absolute control. They want to destroy the Christian community so they can control America. And if you control America, you control the world.
Absolutely. Vince, when you look at the situations right now that are going on as hotspots, whether it's Minneapolis, whether it's New York with the defunding of over $1 billion to the police, whether it's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Seattle, what would you do right now today if you were Solomon and had the magic wand to stop this? What would you do and how would you do it?
I would go and remind the people in the inner city, 85% of them who say they are Christian. I remind them who they are. And when I talk to them, there is no problem. It's no problem when I talk to my fellow Christians. I ask them, who are you? Are you an heir of Jesus Christ? Yes, I am. So why are you afraid? Are you a son of God? Yes, I am. Then why do you think how can you be oppressed? How can you be a victim? Remember who you are. When I was a young boy, my father and I went to a funeral of a family friend, and his son was about my age. He was in his 20s, and the boy was flailing about and crying so hard that the ushers had to take him out of the church. And my father got angry and said, "Come on, let's go." And I went behind my dad. They was out there patting the boy and rubbing on him, trying to get him to cool down. My father pushed those men back, called the guy Robert, and Robert wouldn't say nothing. My dad slapped him right in his mouth and got his attention and told him, "Remember who you are. I know your father. He'd be ashamed of you right now. You go, your father's in there dead, your mother's in there crying, and you out here acting a fool. Go back in there and sit down and be a man." He wiped his face, fixed his suit back up on him. Robert went back in there and acted like a man for the rest of the service. We need to shake him again because we haven't been doing our job. You've been on the radio, Zeb. You're doing your job. I'm writing this book. I'm doing mine. So we got to tell everybody else to do theirs. We are called evangelicals because we're supposed to evangelize. We want to go to Africa. We want to go to Asia. We want to go to China. But we're leaving our own home desolate. And we have to take care of home first. The opposite of hate, of love, is not hate. It is indifference. And these people think we are indifferent to them. And the Democrats love it because they can go down there and say anything they want to say about us. If we have to now understand that the GOP and the RNC and the NRCC is not going to do what we want them to do. They are not going to go down in those communities and engage those people. They will not fund the politician that goes down there, and they won't go down there themselves. These black people down there that are suffering have two choices, a liberal and an ultra-liberal. They never hear our message. And our Bible tells us, how can you hear without a preacher? And how can he go unless he be sent? And we're not sending anyone down there. So this is our challenge. We have to stop complaining about what the government's not doing. And we have to engage ourselves here. I know who I am. I fear no man on this earth because I'm a child of God. And I have to go talk to my brothers and my sisters, and that's why I wrote this book. I'm jumping over the government. I'm jumping over the NRC and all the organizations. I'm going myself. And it's this old gospel song that says, I'll go because I have to go by myself. Because this is carnage. We are sitting here watching a cultural genocide in real time with our feet up on the couch drinking lattes in our country. We have to start being activated. My book tells us how to engage our fellow Christians. Jesus' last prayer before he went to the cross was for unity. He wanted us to be unified. because he knew how Satan was going to come about us. I went to see Jerry Falwell Jr. yesterday at Liberty University. He and I sat down and talked for 2 hours about this.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to start working together to try to mend this rift between black and white Christians, because there's no reason for a black Christian to vote for the Democratic Party. Let me give you some stats, man. They said since 1968 there's been no narrowing in the wealth gap between black and white citizens. Harvard did a study that said that the schools are more segregated than Brown versus Board of Education, and the schools are worse. We have 10 times more black men locked in prison. We have 10 times more. We have half our children being aborted, and the Democrats say they're proud of what they've done to the black community. They're proud. So what do? In the short term, you vote for Donald Trump. He's pro-school choice. He's pro-life. He's going to keep the illegals out that are competing for wages and space and benefits. He's going to allow you to start defending yourself, so that these gangs that are hunting you and the police that you say are hunting you, and I don't believe police are hunting black men, but since you say they're hunting you, shouldn't you want to arm yourself? He believes in the Second Amendment. He's going to make sure he extends your religious liberties. These are yours. So if you don't believe in the LGBTQ thing, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But if you don't, you have a right to practice your religion any way you want to, without these people bothering you. He's going to start locking men out of. He's going to start releasing men from prison that Joe Biden locked up. And black people are dying quicker and faster. They have the lowest life expectancy than any other group in America. And whether Joe Biden, and we are under the government health care system more than any other group of people in America. And what does Joe Biden want to do? He wants to expand it, kill more of it. Trump wants to privatize it.
Vince, let me ask you this.
In the short term, we vote for Donald Trump. In the long term, we have to start going down there. Every white church needs to pick one weekend out of the month that you take a bus down to a black church and just walk in there.
Absolutely.
And look at your brothers and sisters because they think you don't care nothing about them.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, Vince, I got to jump in here and I got to ask you this question because it's very fitting for what you said for the last few moments on this program. Would have been an excellent sermon to have taped and played in every church in America. And I'm going to point the finger at churches right now and say, why aren't the ministers and the church leaders doing and saying more about what's going on and happening or not happening in the communities? I lay a lot of the blame on their feet.
Deb, you're right, and that's why God bless you for what you're doing and having me on your show, because a lot of people wouldn't want me on this show saying what I'm saying. We have to shake ourselves, and then we have to go shake our brothers and sisters. You know, I was reading the story of the Good Samaritan again for last night, and I'm going to tell you, man, I saw it in a different context. You know, I've read the story 1,000 times. You have too. We all know the story. But guess what I got last night from it? The man that had been beaten and was left to die, we know that his friends, the priest and the Levite, walked past him. But the Samaritan came up. And here's the thing. The man that was injured thought the Samaritan was his enemy. But the Samaritan knew he was not the man's enemy. And he went and saved him. Could you imagine this man's face when he saw the Samaritan coming? He said, oh, no, he's going to kill me. And the Samaritan picked him up. This is how it is now. The left has told black people that people like me and you are their enemy, but we know we're not. And when they see us coming, they're going to record us because they think we're coming to do harm. But when they see us hug them, they're going to say, man, what's going on here? This is our opportunity to be the Good Samaritan again.
Absolutely.
We know they're not their enemy.
Absolutely.
He was not that man's enemy. But the man had been told that he was.
Absolutely.
And the man went to the man that needed his help anyway. Nevertheless, even though that man thought he was his enemy, he walked up to him and took care of it. We now have this opportunity again to break through the lie and say, yeah, I know the Iron Triangle, the black preacher, the black politician, the black civic organizer has told you we care nothing about you, that we think we're better, that we want to live in our nice gated communities away from you. Well, we're going to prove that to be a lie. And how do you do it? By showing up. 90% of any gig is just showing up.
Absolutely.
And we don't show up. And that's going to change.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question or a comment quickly, and we'll take that call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay, it's just a quick comment. I want to say how refreshing it is to hear a black man tell it like it is, who truly understands what's going on in the black community. I love hearing this. We need more people like you to come out and espouse those issues within the black community. Thank you for taking my time.
Thank you, sir, for your call. Vince, respond to the caller, if you would, please.
Nice. I really appreciate it, man. I appreciate that so much. Mark Twain said he can live 3 months off of one compliment. Thank you so very much for that. I'm the same way. I really appreciate it.
Let me ask you this question, and I want to get to the monuments in this country. There are no perfect people, and let me stop right there and say, Sean, with the feedback on the line, if you can help me on this just a little bit, please. There are no perfect people. The only perfect person to walk the earth was Jesus Christ himself. And for these people with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, whatever the case might be, to burn, loot, and destroy the monuments, whether it's Lincoln, whether it's Robert E. Lee, it doesn't make any difference. And then to expand that to statues of Jesus Christ and also our 10 Commandments, how are we going to stop this idiocy? It's gone too far. What are we going to do?
Well, I think it's already happening. President Trump is working on it. The people are recognizing, too, that this is just hate. You know, there is a process to do this. A process. If communities want to take down statues, remove them, or replace them, if there's a process, and this is mob rule.
Yes.
Plain and simple. It's just mob rule. And it's a Taliban action, and this is what they've done throughout history. When these Marxists and these thugs take over, they show their hatred, and they want to start tearing down statues and destroying the country that they just took over. They are showing us who they are. And we have to respond in kind. I believe this is an insurrection. I think this is just as dangerous as the Ku Klux Klan and the Black Panthers when they were going around talking about they're going to kill cops and whatnot. If you want to exert change, get into the political process, do it properly, change people's minds, get votes, go forward. But when you start talking about violence, breaking the law, insurrection, defacing and destroying public property, the government and the FBI should come in. They should grab you and put your butt in jail for the rest of your life. And that's all that needs to happen, man. They just need to find these people and lock them up because at the end of the day, they are breaking the law.
Absolutely.
Mob rules.
Absolutely. Let me quickly, in the time I have remaining, talk a little bit about your book, The Iron Triangle. And from the beginning of the book all the way to the end of the book, Vince, what do you want people to take away and remember from reading your book?
I want them to recognize that liberals are the snake in the garden, and they are whispering in the ear of black people, telling them lies about white conservatives. They're telling them that you hate us. They're telling them that you want to see us dead. They're telling them that if you do not keep us in between you and them, they will come down here and they will slaughter you all. And we have to understand that that is what they're doing, and we have to decide whether or not we want to refute it. That's it. We have the power to refute it if we want to. You know, the Iron Triangle has been a continuous force in Black America and in America ever since slavery. We used to call them the old house Negroes back in the day that took care of masters. And when black people got the right to vote, they just graduated them to another post, and that was politics. I believe, and I am persuaded, that if we start talking to one another, that there will be a revival here in America that will change this country forever. It's happened before.
Yes.
We've had great revivals, great awakenings, and they happen organically when we see as a people, not government telling us, not some corporation telling us to do it, but when Christians come together and say, look, y'all, we got to lose this thing. Matter of fact, we got to lose our children. When we get to a tipping point where they say, okay, they've gone too far, now they are trying to take our children to school and tell them that their gender is fluid, that what God did to them was a mistake. When they start telling our children that they should be able to abort our grandchildren and that it will be federally paid for. When they are not allowing our children to pray and exercise their religion, and when they start contradicting the word of the parent to the child. We have to understand that they are splitting us, and they will divide and they will conquer, and it's up to us to start fighting back. It is more of us than it is them. But they are motivated, they are disciplined, and they are ruthless.
I want to tell
God to defeat them.
I want to tell everybody to get this book.
And you know what? And black people, do not hate white conservatives. They believe that white conservatives hate them.
Yes. Vince, tell us quickly, the Iron Triangle, where can people find the book? Tell us quickly.
You can go to my website, irontrianglebook.com.
Okay.
irontrianglebook.com. You have excerpts from my book there, my blogs there, pictures of me there. And the book might be sold out on Amazon. If it is, go to barnesandnoble.com or walmart.com. But I am persuaded that this can be turned around into white conservatives. Let me tell them this before I let them go. One thing. You have nothing more to apologize for. Everything that's wrong in the black community can be fixed in the black community.
Absolutely.
We have to just tell them that we love them. Also, we have paid $1 million almost in the Civil War, $22 trillion since the Great Society, and they want reparations now? No. When they come to you and talk about white privilege, you tell them you are a slave looking for a master. I refuse to be your master. White liberals are masters looking for slaves. Go to them and ask them to be your slave.
Amen.
Tell them that I will help you exercise your freedom because it's yours.
Amen.
But I will not carry the burden of your wretchedness and your laziness. I will help pick you up. I will show you how to make a living, and I'll demand that you stand up and be a man. That's America.
Amen.
That's what Christians do for fellow Christians.
I tell you what.
Tell him who he is, and then push him forward.
Absolutely. The man is Vince Everett Ellison, and he's going to be back on this program. And the book, of course, and I want to urge everybody to get it. The main title, The Iron Triangle, with the subtitle, Inside, Liberal Democratic Plan to Use Race to Divide Christians in America in Their Quest for Power and How We Can Defeat Them. I'm out of time, Vince. God bless you. Have a wonderful Independence Day weekend.
Yeah. You too, my brother. Call me anytime.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep his name on my list to have back in the next couple of days, as a matter of fact, because he is outstanding. I'm running a little late. I'm going to tell you this real quick. The great big schedule events for Rupert's 4th of July celebration include today, being Wednesday, they're going to have that big patriotic program at 6 p.m. tonight. Then, of course, at 7:30, the featured performer, the Eclectics, and then don't forget on Thursday, oh my goodness, tomorrow, the Sounds of Freedom, and then at the fairgrounds, the Mutton Bustin' competition. Friday, they're going to have the Firecracker 500 lawnmower race. Oh my. And then on Saturday, one of the biggest, best parades for the 4th of July in the entire country, and that starts at 11 o'clock in downtown Rupert. All of this at your Rupert 4th of July celebration for 2020. And right now, we'll send it back over to Sean and be back in just about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
In my 49 years of announcing rodeos all over the United States and Canada, I was never treated any better than I was at the great Silver State Stampede down in Elko, Nevada. And the people, the surroundings, the cowboy atmosphere, everything is always there every year for the Silver State Stampede. It's an outstanding professional rodeo with all the amenities of different items going on different days. They've got very, very interesting activities going on every single year at the Elko County Fairgrounds. And with us is the president of the Silver State Stampede, former bareback rider, and one really nice man, Pat Laughlin. How are you, sir? Good to have you on the program.
You bet, Zeb. Good to be here. It's good to talk to you, old friend.
It has been a long time, and I'm so glad to have you on the show. And I want to say this up front, Pat, and I want you to respond. With all this COVID-19 absolutely imposing and threatening everyone across the nation, I am so glad that the Silver State Stampede said, we're going to make it a safe environment, we're going to make it an interesting and fun program for all of our fans, and we're going to go ahead with the Silver State Stampede.
You bet, Zeb. We voted the board. You know, we kind of been watching this stuff. Everything has started, and we go, well, we'll wait a little. In the meantime, we just kept moving forward. And then came a time when we had to make the big decision. We
we can't bail. If we're going to, we've got to do it now. But if we keep going, when we have to stop at the very end, that's what we'll have to do. But, you know, this community has really gotten behind us. We've got, of course, we're working with the PRCA with safety in the arena. We've got our own, they have assigned our own coordinator, I guess you would say, for the COVID that works just with us, you know, to make sure that we're on track with everything. We've got the hospital here in town on track, and they're coming out with a bunch of volunteers to, you know, meet everybody at the gate and supply masks for people who don't have one in case they want one. You know, we're not, you can't make anybody wear one, but everything is available there to come and have a safe time.
Absolutely.
So we've really got a lot of support from the community, and it's really taken a lot of work from this board. We've got kind of a little skeleton board anyway, and our rodeo keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and this year we've really asked a lot out of our volunteers to get us this far, and we're not done, but we're going to have one heck of a show.
Well, we are, and I'm looking forward to coming down and seeing you and all my friends again at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Tell us a little bit about what's happening on July 10 and 11 and 12. Give us kind of a synopsis of all the different activities.
Okay, well, we have your standard PRCA rodeo, but we have a few special events we throw in every year. This year, one of them being the ranch hand bronc riding that we've been doing. Actually, we're billed as the World Championship, and it counts towards double points for their association and everything like that. We kind of we're one of the first ones to ever make it really, really big, and the ranch hand bronc riding thing kind of spun off of, I'm not really want to brag here, but it really kind of spun off of us putting this event on, and started blooming up everywhere else in other rodeos and stuff. So that's kind of an extra event, and then we always have some side event. We got the world famous Wild Child from Utah, the Barrel Man. He's coming this year. He was billed to come last year. We had him all set up, and he broke his ankle like about a week before our rodeo, so we had to get a quick substitute. And then we have the E Kappa riders. I don't know if you're familiar with them from Boise. They ride and do different patterns, and it's hard to explain, kind of. And they ride bareback with just a collar, and it's really neat to see these. And they're made up of all young kids, and it's a crowd favorite. We've had them here probably 10 years ago. And let's see, that's kind of our specialty stuff. And then, of course, the regular rodeo, and then the Ring of Fear is our big thing. We run it at the end of the rodeo every year, and we have a big ring. We put 6 big circles out there, and we get some interest. They get in it for the win $500 a night, and we turn a bull loose in their flank, and the last guy standing in his ring is the winner.
Absolutely.
Crowd favorite for sure.
Absolutely. You know, Pat, I was reading the list of things that are going to be going on down there, and you've also got the mini bull riders, and this is something that's really catching on all across the United States for the junior bull riders. Tell us just a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's quite a unique event. It's really quite a crowd favorite. We tried it, I think it was the first time last year, and we thought, well, heck, out here in Elko, we'll try anything to make our rodeo better. We don't care, because we look at it like if it doesn't work, then we'll do something else. But we'll give anything a try. But the guy has a bunch of small mini bulls, and he kind of has a little circuit of people that follow him, of young kids that come and get on, and it's just like watching big bull riding, but everything is just smaller. It's quite a crowd favorite. It's pretty good.
Now, tell us a little bit about, after the rodeo's over, you've got a great band and the music from the Moonshine Outlaws. Tell us a little bit about them.
You bet. We've got the world-famous Cowboy Bar that we have at the end of the grandstands down there. It's world-renowned. I have PRCA guys that I stay in contact with that still, that are riding today, and anytime I get a chance to talk to them, they'll say, hey, is that Cowboy Bar still going down there? And we have a big band. Well, not a band, we have live entertainment usually, but dancing and everything, and that goes on till way hours of the morning, usually about we usually shut her down about 1 anymore, because that's long enough, So, yeah, and then we have a trade show with a bunch of vendors with all kinds of horse gear and stuff, and we've just kind of added to it. We've got a guy that comes in and brings a mechanical bull for all the kids to ride, and we have put it back there off to the side, and it's just full all night long. So we try to do a little bit of something for, everybody.
Well, let's kind of back up a little bit, Pat, and talk about the first evening. On Friday night, you're going to have a delicious, and it is, I can attest to that, tri-tip dinner. Tell us about that.
Yeah, John Lemich from Machi's, the world-famous Machi's restaurant here in town. He's been a big supporter of the rodeo for years, and he brings all this tri-tip in and cooks it right there in the afternoon and slices it all up, and then serve it up, for that dinner, and then whatever's left, we just go ahead and serve it out through the next couple of days on the menu at the concession stand. So it really works good, and he comes in there and it doesn't charge us anything. He's been doing it for years. Just helps us out we got so many people that do so much, Zip, and don't ask for anything back.
Absolutely.
It's really amazing place here.
Now, on Saturday night, of course, you've always been dedicated to helping breast cancer awareness with the Tough Enough to Wear Pink. Tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen on Saturday evening.
Yeah, we still do the Tough Enough to Wear Pink. We like everybody to wear a pink shirt. If you got one, if you don't, go down and get one. But it's for awareness for breast cancer. We've been doing it for quite a years, and we donate part of the gate every year to the local breast cancer society and everything. So it's something we've been done. And off on another little note, where we had a really good, an old local feller here that grew up here, Officer Jenkins, that was killed in the line of duty just a few months ago. So we're going to have we're going to call it a blue night, kind of. We're going to do something every night for him, but Friday night, and it's going to be kind of a dedication to him and all of our fine officers that are, in my opinion, are really taking an unfair beating right now.
Absolutely.
And I wish I could say what I really think, but I better not. But because we sure support our officers in this country. That's all I know.
Absolutely. And Pat, I'll tell you what, never hesitate to say what you want on this program, because I'm pretty blunt about everything, and I agree with you. Thank you for bringing that up. What about on Sunday night? You've got a little special, because now you've incorporated Sunday into kind of a family day. Is that right?
Yeah, we have big plans for it. It's not, we had to put a lot of things kind of on hold this year because we didn't know what we were going to do. We start the rodeo a little bit earlier, 5 o'clock. So we get done a little bit earlier, and by then the grandstands are all in the shade. And we just kind of started to want to build. We used to have a Thursday night performance, but it was strictly all the ranch hand bronc riders, and then we got down to like the top 12, and they would ride during the rodeo. But that kind of tapered off a little, so we added another PRCA night with us. And our thinking also was there's not a lot of people that rodeo on Sunday within, probably 1,000 miles of here. So it's getting a little bigger every year. Of course, we don't have the huge crowds, but people are starting to figure it out that we get a lot of top-name guys. We do anyway, but everybody enters for Sunday because there's no other rodeos. So if you want to see some world champions and some top-notch guys, especially in the riding event, Sunday is when you want to come.
Absolutely.
Because they're all entering for that, and if they get drawn for Sunday, of course, well, they're going to be there because there's no place else to be.
Absolutely. Now, tell the audience up here, Pat, and all my audience across the Intermountain West, if they need to get tickets now, where do they get advance tickets?
Okay, we just started, just a matter of fact, today, getting our advance tickets out. We're kind of late, with everything with this COVID. We just didn't know what was going to happen, but there are several locations we can get them at. Roy's Market, who supplies all of our food and stuff for our concession, been working with us for years. Roy's been here his entire life. He's got a little supermarket downtown. And so at his place, the Chamber of Commerce, IFA, Implement Store, JM Capriolas, and Boot Barn are the places where you can get advance tickets.
Okay. And do you want to mention those ticket prices quickly?
I believe they're still the same they've always been. I think an adult is $15. We always try to keep the price down so that we want to get people in the door and have a good time. And I believe kids 12 and under are 10 or something. But
okay.
You're not going to find this kind of entertainment for that kind of money. We try to make it really easy for everybody to get in here, and hopefully you'll buy a hot dog or something while you're in there.
Pat, now I also want to mention, too, that if people are out of the area and they want to find out more information about the Silver State Stampede, all they have to do is go to the website, silverstatestampede.com. Is that correct?
Yes, there's we try to keep it pretty updated. You know, like I say, this year things are a little different, but pretty much everything you really need to know is on that website. So
okay, well, we're going to send.
What we try to do. It's really hard if we leave a phone number because people really start calling. But everybody seems to know to go to websites now. So
okay. I want to urge everybody that's listening to put this on your calendar as a must-go, and that's July 10, 11, and 12 to Elko, Nevada for the Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds. You will not ever see a better rodeo than you will the Silver State Stampede. And with the president and his committee, Pat Laughlin, I wish you the best, and we're going to be talking to you again in a couple of days.
You bet. Zeb, we can talk about some more stuff. That'd be great. It's sure good to hear your voice and visit with you. And it'd be great to see some of the Idaho people come down. I don't know how they're doing on their rodeos. I know they're trying to get a few of them off the ground, but we're having one.
Oh, all right. And
come on down.
You're having one of the best of all time. I'm so proud with the affiliation I had in the past with you folks. Thank you so much. Pat Laughlin with...
I'd like to tell you, I'd like to point out one more thing, because people are surprised, and they ask me on the street, and people call me, are you having a rodeo, I said, well, in the cities around here, they seem to don't care if you have a protest or even if a riot breaks out. So I tell everybody we're going to have a peaceful protest up there at the fairgrounds, and you never know, a rodeo just might break out.
I love it. Pat, you're the best. Thank you so much for being on the program. We'll send everybody down. Thank you much.
You bet. Bye-bye, Jim.
All right, take care. A good friend and has been for many, many years, Pat Laughlin down in Elko, Nevada with the Silver State Stampede. And I got to tell you, if you've ever wanted to go to that rodeo, put it on your list right now to go this year, because it is rodeo the way it was intended to be. Fun and a lot of action, let me tell you that, at the Silver State Stampede. Right now it's time for the weather, but before... I'll take a quick call. Real fast, caller. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead?
Yes, go ahead, please, quickly.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt your weather. I'm sorry. I was just listening to that guy, and, there's so many good people. And the liberals, the left, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they all think that all of the old die-hard patriots are going to die. Well, I say to myself, well, don't we have kids that know better? Have we not raised our kids to know better?
Absolutely.
Are there not young people out there who actually have brains enough to figure out what is truth and what is a lie? And you just wonder, because, they're just counting on us all either giving up or passing away, I guess.
Let me tell you something, Randy, down there in Elko for that Silver State Stampede, you want to talk about patriotism, you want to talk about standing for the national anthem, you want to stand there and look at all the tears in the eyes of the people that really celebrate the opening prayer. It's right there with the red, white, and blue at the Silver State Stampede. Thank you for your call, Randy. I got to run. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Want to remind everybody about Edith's Cafe. Oh, what a great place to eat. eat at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. They wanted me to tell you that they're going to take a well-deserved day off on this Saturday, the 4th of July, so that they and all their help can enjoy all the different activities for Independence Day. But they'll be back the next week, you bet your life, and ready to serve you with the best of food. And don't forget, they also do catering, and their menu is absolutely just chock full of delicious items for you and your family. Be sure and remember Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. And they wish you and yours a very happy and safe Independence Day weekend. Right now, let's go to the weather real quick. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. And you can also check out all the delicious meats on their website at scarrowsmeats.com. Oh my, from all the different flavors. It's with an L, Zeb. Flavors of bratwurst, my goodness, and along with all the hams and the different flavors of bacon, the pork chops. Oh, delicious, delicious meats from Scarrows Meats, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Finally, some sunshine in the forecast. Here's a look at your weather for today. We are expecting sunny skies. A little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, about 8 miles an hour, turning to the northwest by the afternoon. Gusts could get as high as 22 miles an hour, and we are expecting a high of 74. Tonight, mostly clear skies. That breeze is going to continue. We are expecting a low of 45 for Thursday. Sunny and 80 for Friday, sunny and 87. Then for Independence Day Saturday, sunny skies and 87. That's your weather for Zeb Durant.
Gina does a great job on our weather. We appreciate her. And, of course, our sponsor this hour is Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and his great staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. You know, we're so blessed on this program, and we've got them back in entirety right now, and that's our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. There's so much that they do, and there's so much that they're good at in serving you and your vehicle with the best of tires, you know that, the best of brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries, and the best in service. I mean, they come at a high lope to come out to your vehicle and say, may we help you? Absolutely. And 7 locations to serve you throughout the Magic Valley. And don't forget, too, they got that free pre-trip safety check, and that's pretty important right now. Many of you heading out for this great big Independence Day weekend. Well, check it out at James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes in Twin Falls, the Twist family over in Paul, and Trent, our good old friend, on Overland in Burley. All 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget, farmers and dairymen and everybody else, great on-the-farm service to keep you running. You get a hold of them today. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow, we had a lot of fun, a lot of great calls today, and tomorrow on the program, we have, we've got Rick Parker. We haven't talked to my old friend Rick Parker for many, many years on the radio, and he's going to be on the air. We've got, I believe, School Days in Cassia County. We've got an interview with Jason Gibbons over at the Rupert 4th of July, and then at 10:30, we're looking forward to, and I got to verify this right after the show this morning, Senator Mary Souza from the state of Idaho is going to be on our program tomorrow, and she lives up in the Coeur d'Alene area, so she's going to be on the show along with all of your great phone calls. So tune us in tomorrow morning at 8:06. We always end the program by saying, of course, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to us are, in God we trust. I want to thank Sean over at the studio. Great job, and right now we're going to turn it back over to them as we say goodbye for today, but we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06.